Chuck, one of the things that I think really was a gut punch to me last night was watching the behavior of Representative Joe Wilson from South Carolina last night. Let's take a look at that portion of the president's speech and then, frankly, Representative Wilson's response this morning.
Yep.
There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
What's the leadership said to you this morning?
Well, last night heard from the leadership that they wanted me to contact the White House and state that my statements were inappropriate. I did. I'm very grateful that the White House, in talking with them, they indicated that they appreciated the call and that we needed to have a civil discussion about the health care issues, and I certainly agree with that. And so I'm happy to discuss the health care issues, and in particular on the issue, which I think is very important, of whether the bills cover.
Chuck, it was such appalling behavior. Yeah. Are some Republicans feeling the need to push back from him today? And frankly, he's thrown up a real speed bump, hasn't he?
Well, first of all, he's become the best tool that this White House could have found. I mean, they couldn't have created a foil better than Joe Wilson, number one. Number two, boy, that statement wasn't a very. First of all, he looked like somebody who hadn't gotten a lot of sleep, who had looked like he'd been beaten up all day and all morning. But listen to his statement. He said, "Well, I apologize because the leadership told me to apologize." It was, he didn't show the remorse, and maybe he meant to, but that statement didn't sound like. It may not be enough for some who are really upset about how he behaved. Right now, you're not hearing anything a lot publicly from Republicans. John McCain, of course, was pretty prominent last night in quickly denouncing the behavior of Congressman Wilson. But it is, behind the scenes, I think a lot of Republicans, and privately I've talked to a bunch of them, who are absolutely wringing their hands and realize Joe Wilson just gave the White House its best political tool to, frankly, be able to blow off Republicans in Congress right now and go right through Congress.
And he may have blown up himself. I mean, this is a man now we've learned has problems of his own. He's made some bad statements in the past, calling a colleague viscerally un-American. There's a story that he went after Strom Thurman. And overnight, we understand that the person who wants, frankly, his seat has $100,000 have come into the coffers, maybe $200,000.
He's never politically, it's funny, sometimes we on the outside will sit there and say, oh, well, he's a Republican. He must get, all these Republicans, South Carolina, they must all be in the same club. He has not been a proud member of the South Carolina Republican establishment. In some ways, he prided himself in getting elected and being sort of a little bit of an outsider from the establishment Republican class a little bit in South Carolina. And so he's not going to find a lot of defenders, whether it's a Lindsey Graham or even a Jim DeMint, the state's two senators. I would mention the state's Republican governor right now. But as we know, the state of South Carolina is having a tough image problem right now when it comes to its politicians.
The state of South Carolina is having a couple of bad, let me just say that Joe Wilson has capped what has really been a tough summer for that state. Appalling behavior. Chuck, thanks so much. Chuck Todd at the White House. I appreciate it.